Good evening and welcome. You're listening to Modern Mystic Radio on A1R Psychic Radio, the world's #1 psychic radio network. And also we're on Moonstruck TV. So I'm very, very excited today. Absolutely thrilled because I've got a super guest for you. I'm going to introduce him in a moment. But first, before I do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. I've been a psychic working professionally for 27 years, psychic as a child as well, work in a variety of different ways, based in the UK, have my own private practice, also work on UK television as well as sort of doing one-to-one readings in the UK and worldwide as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my wonderful guest. It's the gorgeous Aldo Raffa. Hi, Aldo. How are you?
Hello, Sarah. Yeah, really well, thank you. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. I'm delighted that you're going to be on today. And I'm pretty sure our listeners are going to be absolutely delighted to grab a reading with you as well. So we're going to be going into a couple of readings a little bit later. But before we do that, Aldo, tell everybody, a little bit about you, how you work.
So, similar to yourself, been psychic all my life, seen things, felt things, when I was growing up, which was exciting, somewhat a little bit challenging, also a little bit sort of spooky and odd at times, but actually really magical overall. So what I do, I provide readings. I work in a variety of different ways, and predominantly in the last, maybe 4 or 5 months, I've been doing a lot more working with other people who also think they're a little bit kind of like spooky and a bit sort of odd, because at the end of the day, when you're going through awakening psychically, it can be a bit daunting. So what I'm really passionate about is working with people to accept their own gifts as well, and to also harness it a bit more. So I combine a lot of different tools. I work with the tarot, I combine that with, channeling and working with the universe and connecting to one's guides. And I just absolutely love the joy and the ease. If I think, now really, I don't really know how, I can sort of live without, the beautiful guidance of the universe. And it's something that I just love to share and bring kind of synchronicity and show people how to bring synchronicity into their life.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that I sometimes ask myself, if I didn't do, because it's been with me for my whole life, and it's been, I've been working psychically, professionally since I was 17. And I ask myself quite often, what would I do if I wasn't psychic? How would I fill my time? And I literally have no idea. No idea, because it's all consuming. For me, it's all consuming. Psychic world is all consuming. And, a little like you, I also work with people that are hoping to understand it, develop it and work with it in their own way. So in terms of like psychic coaching and what have you, that seems to be a really, really strong, and it's what people are looking for, at this time, to be able to actually work with it, not just for themselves, but for other people as well.
Absolutely. And I do really feel there's a lot of ascension at the moment, a lot of people really waking up and kind of sort of thinking, oh, what is this? What's going on? So for anyone out there who is feeling a bit like this, don't worry, you haven't completely sort of lost it, because there is so much magic to the universe. And it is funny because, I think we do work quite similarly. I know you work with Sekem, which is an Egyptian type of healing, as do I. And I think there's just so much, kind of magic in ancient Egypt and all of its sort of mysteries. So I'm very sort of like passionate about, that side of things as well. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the work, and it's very, very rewarding because, like you said, it's not really like, it's always been there, sort of like people say to me, oh, is there like a day where you don't really, and I sort of think, no, there isn't a day I'm not connected. And why? And I wouldn't like not to be, I think it's beautiful being connected and aligned to the different rhythms of support and love, really.
Absolutely. Now, you started off on UK TV at a very early age, didn't you? So how did your psychic journey start for you? What age did you actually start?
Yes, good question. Well, what I love, about this interview, of course, is you started very young at 17, so actually very similar to yourself in terms of that. So a nice little bit of synchronicity there. In sync with each other's rhythms. Yeah, I started on working on UK TV at the age of 19, sort of like 18, 19, which was really young. And actually it was, in many respects, an amazing journey. Because it really pushed me to work with my psychic energy in a very different way, because I wasn't used to working in such a way where we were, as you know, and we've worked together before on TV in the UK. It's very fast paced, and you're working with lots of different energies, and so I looked at that very much like a sort of psychic aerobics. It was like wow. But yeah, it started when I was about, from when my folks recall, when I was, I think, 3 years old. I sort of said to my mum that I was going to have this sister, and, and 2 weeks later, my mum finds out she's pregnant, and she sure enough has a daughter, and I sort of said this was her name. And so, yeah, I'd see spirit a lot when I was a kid, and it would really, really freak me out. It'd be like, who's that person? And no, why didn't anyone else see them? And, and it'd be a little bit like that. And, one experience was quite, one or two experiences were quite challenging. So I kind of shut it off when I was probably around, I think about 7 or 8, I shut it off. It was just like, no, I trained myself quite well to, let's just let that go. And you can, I think you can train yourself to clear the energies. But what I found was around about the age of 12, 13, that it was like I wasn't being completely me. And my aunt was very much connected to the energies, and she would read, she read tarot and still does, and was in more of the holistic approach. And she kind of basically turned it around for me when she bought me my first deck of tarot around that age. And it was just like, it wasn't a new tool, it was. Yeah. It was like the I in the A had done that before, but it was the first time Aldo had this deck. And yeah, it just changed. It really reconnected me. And it somehow gave me some sort of grounding work with the cards. And then later I started, exploring, and a lot of it was self-taught. But it wasn't even, it felt very natural in regards to how, energy was flowing and stuff like this. So yeah, it was a very sort of sudden leap really where it came to readings, because everyone was sort of like from, I don't know, all of a sudden came out from nowhere, everywhere. So like, I'd like a reading, I'd like this. And it was quite interesting, but I think actually quite overwhelming when you are quite young with the energy and the work, because it's like, all this stuff, and people are like, how do you know this stuff? And you're like, I don't know, I've not even experienced it. Sort of like, earthly level yet. And I'm sure you resonate with that, and it can
absolutely
like wow.
Yeah, I mean, I found that. I mean, I think I picked up a book on how to read the playing cards at age 13, and that's what I used to do for like friends and family, and that was my introduction really into delivering readings, not even being remotely aware that I'd go on to the tarot and everything else. And I've even sort of developed my own sort of reading system called the Star Grid system that I use as well, which I absolutely love. And I think you get to a point where when you're working psychically, like especially in a fast-paced environment, that you actually get to the point where you can read pretty much anything, even like a cup of tea. So have you found that working in that fast-paced environment has really amplified your psychic ability? And you also mentioned that you used to see spirits. So are you a medium as well?
Well, yeah, funnily enough, I've always been able to see, spirit. And again, I think working in that fast-paced environment, very much on a psychic level, was great. And yeah, it was really fine-tuned. And I think it's very much a thing, isn't it? If you don't use it, you lose it. And obviously, the more you work with the energy, the more you build your own relationship, and you kind of understand what, your personal sort of symbols, because this work speaks to us in symbols, spirit, psychic.
Absolutely.
It comes through in a very symbolic way through the creative mind. And I do work very mediumistically, and I call myself more of a channel really for the universe, because I don't like to sort of think that, that spirit are sort of like individual. I think, there is that collective consciousness. So yeah, I like to say I'm more of a channel of source as opposed to, but I can very much work mediumistically. And it's funny because that was one thing I did shut off actually a little bit. While, and I reconnected to. And I do think this work, what I love about it, and probably you find the same, is it never gets old because it always changes as we're always evolving.
Absolutely. I never cease to be amazed. It never stays the same, ever. I never cease to be amazed, and it just gets stronger the more years that you kind of work with it. Now I would quite happily talk for hours, but we do have a caller waiting, and we have Ashley from Perth, Australia. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, how you going?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm going to pass you straight over to Aldo, who's going to give you a mini reading here live on the show. So over to Aldo.
Hello, Ashley. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So what brings you? Is there any sort of area you'd like me to have a little look into your life with?
Just really anything that comes through.
Okay.
Nothing really in particular that I'm after, but...
Absolutely. Okay. Do you know, as I linked you straight away, there has been a lot going on. My solar plexus, which is the personal power center, in our energy body, feels like it's been going for a lot of clearing. But yeah, there's been like a lot of, it's almost like your power's been knocked a little bit, if that makes sense. You sort of felt a bit like, and I think it's been more around people around you and disappointments, and certainly two people in sort of significant, in sort of relevance to things. It's like two people around you. It does all feel very close to the heart too. Would you understand this?
Yes, I can.
It's sometimes when it's right close to you, it's like, what is it? What do they say? It's like it's like the people that we're so close to, we sort of like, what we love about them is sometimes what we really kind of can't deal with as well. And I feel there's been one or two sort of like triggers or triggering things going on. What I want to say to you is, first and foremost, happy new moon in Aries. And, I'm in Aries, so I love this time of year. So I just get excited. This is a great time to spark, to bring passion, to bring creativity, and bring spark back into your world and into your life, within, without. And I feel like the message here is, don't let the outside world dictate what you're feeling. It's like, don't give that power up, or that, I feel like you've recently realized that it's like, well, I'm not going to let this get me, get my go and get into my own space. Because I feel like everyone's going through their own healing process at the moment, if that makes sense. Around you. And I do feel like that there's something about like a bit of an adventure. There's someone in spirit, there's a lady in spirit that wants to tell you to go on an adventure, wants you to have an adventure, or wants you to, I don't know why, it's like wants you to inspire or sort of be inspired and going on your own quest, and letting other people do what they need to do at this time, if that makes sense. Because sometimes I do feel you get yourself in these difficult situations where you're being made to feel quite responsible for other stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
And this woman in spirit, she draws very close to you, and she's got a very chirpy energy about her, and sort of a real cheeky grin and smile. very earthy. This lady would have had quite an earthy quality and way with her, and she makes me aware of being quite sort of sensitive and quite intuitive. She would have been on the earth plane actually, and she really feels like a real strong guide at the moment, and she's almost feels like she's wanting to heal a lot of different people. And well, she's not wanting to, she said she's healing a lot of different people at the moment, but she talks about this like December time, the January time is quite significant. Would you understand that time?
Oh, maybe.
It's like she's sort of it's sort of like she's talking really very much about this. It's like January. It's like the beginning of this year, January time. That seems to be very significant, where she's been around. So I don't know why that stands out, but I feel like this woman would have been like I don't know if it's a grandmother or is it like a step? I don't know. It's like she makes me feel very much like this is connected to your mum's side of the family. Would you understand this?
Yeah, it could be my great-grandmother.
Yeah, it's like great-grandmother. But she's like, I'm not great because I'm young and youthful. Would you understand? She's been quite a youthful energy. And she looked very youthful, you know, she had this sparkle, this almost like sparkle in her eyes, and a very sort of in tune energy, and quite connected to the land and the energies and the rhythms. But I think she's a guide of yours. And she's talking about birthday and celebration as well coming that will be quite significant for you this year. And it just feels like there's like an adventure that she's inspiring you to do. I'm going to pull a card as well. But
okay.
Yeah, the energy feels really beautiful for you. And look at that. You've got the Four of Swords, which is very much like the rest and retreat card, you know, but it's also about giving yourself permission to take off responsibility and actually breathe, you know, breathe into this space, breathe into this time right now. And it's actually saying retreat too. So it's giving yourself permission a little bit here to maybe retreat a bit. August time is being highlighted as a really important time. August, September time. And I think there's a lot about between now and then of really like doing what you need to do and letting other people, giving other people and situations space. Because I feel like there's been so much change. And with you, this is about letting yourself fly this year. You know, it's like take off and move in a way that is going to allow you to feel cleaner and clearer, particularly within your own sense of self. Because I think, there's been this whole realization of like where you've maybe also gone wrong in things as well. You know, it takes two to tango with things, and it kind of feels a little bit like that. You've become like consciously kind of aware of where you've maybe been out of alignment. And now it's like, okay, great. So now it's time to, you know, it's like there's no excuse now, if that makes sense. So it's really owning what you actually intrinsically know is right to do, and what feels important and relevant for you. So hopefully that makes sense. And I do keep feeling as well like the message is look after yourself a little bit more, self-care, you know, because I think there's been a few things on that area, on the health front, nothing serious, but just, you know, it's been all about triggering you to listen to your body, listen to your rhythms.
Yep, I can totally relate to all of that.
Right, well, I'm going to have to cut that sort of as it is, but you have given so much, Aldo. Thank you. And thank you, Ashley, for coming through. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant evening or day ahead. It's 2:00 in the morning for us here in the UK, but I'm not quite sure what time it is there for you. So enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Right, so Aldo, we are nearing the end of the show, but I would like to find out really, you know, if somebody wants to get hold of you, how can they do that? Are you available for readings? You know, are you available for Skype or telephone readings for people overseas? How can they get hold of you?
Absolutely. I am available you can book through my website, which is www.aldoraffa.co.uk. And I do, tailor-made sessions, Skype, telephone. I run 6-month programs of deep transformational work as well. So, I'm available for a lot of different things. I also do soul maps, which are awesome, really, really kick-ass stuff, which combine Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic tree, astrology, and your tarot, and it looks at kind of how you're manifesting and creating the world. So, you can find all of that more, on my website, where I've got lots of different retreats and courses as well on there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you're drawn to me, come through and have a little check out on the website and see what takes your fancy.
And of course, you are available on Facebook as well, aren't you?
Facebook, yeah, absolutely. I'm not the best on Facebook though, so if I don't get back to you for a while, don't take it personally. I'm getting better with my relationship with Facebook.
But you do Facebook Live, so if people want to join in with that, that's something that they can do too, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's free, and it's a great little way of seeing how the energies work and flow.
Absolutely. And also I wanted to find out, really, because you talked about how you receive your information sort of psychically. You say you get symbols, so are you able to explain that a little bit more, just so people can get a deeper insight into how you're actually getting your guidance? Because I could see you working today, and you were very much, you only pulled one card, so you're just working very, very intuitively. So I'd be very interested to find out very quickly how you work there.
Absolutely. I think energetically it does work in symbols. I mean, it's like with working with the universe, they give us like keys to. It's a bit like the key that has no door, and really it's my job to translate the information. So I'll get feelings, I'll get kind of impressions, I'll get deep knowings, and it tends to come through in that way. The symbolism often is like personal symbols, if you will, or codes for me. So, for example, star jumps. When someone does a star jump, it means they've recently passed to the spirit world. If I see flowers, it's usually birthday or a celebration. So it's in that sense. It's like these keys and codes that really it's down to kind of how you interpret and how you translate it.
So it's like a language then.
Absolutely. And actually, if we look, really, symbols were our first language.